For 30 years, the heroes of motocross have come to Washougal, Washington to add their names to the impressive list of champions that have conquered this scenic and demanding course. Now all eyes are on Ryan Dungey as he comes to the Pacific Northwest, having extended his series lead even further with a dominating win in his home state. While Kevin Windham returned to the motocross scene with an impressive performance, Chad Reed's season slipped into uncertainty as Andrew Short took over the second spot in the championship. If the title can be seized from Dungey's clutches, now's the time, because there will be no letting up as he enters the home stretch of his dream season. Next, at the Washougal National.
In the Great Pacific Northwest for round 8 of the 2010 Lucas Oil AMA Pro Motocross Championship, the Washougal Washington National. And we already have a great first moto in the books. Ryan Dungey continued his string of domination. He takes the lead from Andrew Short and goes on to grab the first moto victory. Hello everyone and welcome to Washougal. Jason Wygant on a retro weekend for the sport. We got our own champ here from 92, 96, 97, our retro champ Jeff Emig. First, big news before this race started, Chad Reed out of this series.
Yeah, Chad Reed has been diagnosed with Epstein-Barr. Some people get a little bit critical when you get diagnosed with that, but basically just zaps all of your energy. We could see that this summer he just wasn't as consistently strong as what he's been in his whole career. Chad Reed is out for the season.
And Ryan Dungey, as we said, continues to roll. What'd you learn from watching him in Moto 1, Jeff?
Learn that somebody's going to have to do something very special to beat him. I mean, he's just got everything working right. Andrew Short out front with the whole shot, put in some good laps, but you get to the 15-minute mark, a little bit past that, Dungey just drops the hammer and drops everybody in the rearview mirror.
We're preparing for Moto 2, so let's introduce our own retro girl down in the starting line, Erin Bates, with a progressive pre-race report.
Ryan Dungey continues to be unstoppable. Ryan, you won that first moto. You saw how the conditions had changed from first practice to that moto. How much do you expect them to change for this final moto of the day?
Probably a good little bit. You know, it's been about a couple hours since we last raced, and track changed a little bit, so it all depends on how they groom it, water it. So sight lap, we'll get to check her out.
You guys make any changes on the bike?
Minor stuff, just trying to stick what we got, and everything's working well.
Best of luck to you. We'll make our way over Kevin Windham, who just finished up 9th place during that first moto. Kevin, you guys have made some changes to the bike as well. Take us through the changes that you made in order to hold on a little better.
Well, yeah, we had a rough go at it there the first moto. We were changing some things, didn't work out, and you know, the Honda Red Bull team is behind me. It feels great. I'm glad to be back out here at motocross and looking for a little redemption here in Moto 2.
You said you weren't able to feel your hands. It was really difficult to hold on. How much has that affected your blisters as well from last weekend?
Well, it's definitely on a crash course. You know, it's good to be back out here at motocross, but after getting the call, we haven't had enough time to really prepare ourselves. So we're just work in progress and trying to have fun with it, and with fans like we got here and last weekend, and moving on to some of my favorite tracks. It's just fun to be out here.
Fans are very excited to have you back. And Brett Metcalf, who's you've actually taken over Kevin Windham's ride. Brett, great performance that first moto, but your confidence has got to be soaring right now. Ben Townley, injured on the sidelines, going to be sitting out for this moto. That pretty much solidifies you in that 3rd place overall position. How do you feel about that?
Well, we got a long way to go at the end of the championship, but you know, I have a lot of respect for Ben, and I hope he's okay. You know, he's been through a lot the last few seasons, so I just hope he's okay, and it does nothing for my confidence. I got to go out there and make it.
The temperature is starting to rise, but these guys are getting hot, ready for this start gate to drop.
Well, it's been an amazing season so far, and it's bound to get even better when we go racing the second moto at Washougal. A great racetrack, great weather, and the best riders in the world all lined up. The fans are excited, so are we. Well, there's a reason we call this the most picturesque stop on this 12-race tour. The beautiful Columbia River, not far away. It's awesome here.
Look at that.
Yeah, this is only about 20 minutes from the track. And yeah, so far Ryan Dungey has been ruling this series. He has won all but one overall race this year. But to win the overall, you've got to do well in 2 motos. Let's break it down with our Motocross 411. 2 motos every weekend, 40 riders in each, 30 minutes plus 2 laps is the distance, and we'll total up the scores from each of those 2 motos to determine an overall victory. What's it like to go racing at Washougal? We talked to some of our top riders about this racetrack.
like, you think like, man, the track's so good. You're trying different tires for practice, and you're thinking, man, nothing seems to really work. You just got to kind of ride the track different, you know. It's just a different track.
The dirt, you look at it and it looks like it's the tackiest dirt you'll ever ride and this and that, and all of a sudden you'll be riding and you'll hit a slick spot out of nowhere. So you really got to be on top of your game.
It's a tough track because you have to be so precise, so smooth, so, you know, meticulous about it. You can't just come in at every turn with a handful of gas and bury the bike. You've got to almost float around that track.
It wears on you, that track, just because I think as much of it is physical, it is mental, just because of the shadows from the trees and also, you know, just the lack of traction.
It's a lot of different stuff. It's tacky and slippery and jumpy and fast and a lot of turns, and it's a lot of different stuff at that track that they throw at us, and it's cool though. I like the challenge. I think that's the biggest fun part of that track is a lot of different like variables that go into the track, so it's cool.
All right, now you've heard what the riders have to say about the track. Jeff, why don't you give us a little look at what this track has to offer?
Well, let's take a look at the track map here at Washougal. Brand new starting gate this year. Of course, Horsepower Hill, that's the drag race up the first one. And then, of course, the downhill drop-off into those tight S-turns, so famous sections of the track. Now they've switched it up. Some new sections here, massive jumps into the trees. This highlighted section here, the Hoopties, classic section as you drag race to the finish. On through some other tight turns here with an off-camber. Zigzag your way around through the mechanics area, and that's a track or a lap at Washougal.
And we had several laps already in the books with our 450 first moto earlier today. Let's show you how it broke down. Another good one for Andrew Short.
Yeah, the 29 of Andrew Short and his new teammate Kevin Windham, both the the Red Bull Hondas out front with the beginning, and another Honda rider down. That would be Ben Townley, and he would be injured.
Yeah, Townley not going to be back for the second moto. We hope he's okay, but hurt his shoulder, which has been bothering him, of course, in the past. Knocked him out of the race series for the last couple of years. Ryan Dungey goes to work. First gets around Windham in that infamous whoop section, as he said, drag racing to the finish line area.
And then, of course, when you have the momentum and you're working forward, you're going to make a pass on the lead. And watch Dungey here just scrub his way past this through a newer section. Gets past Short for the lead, and he basically checks out after this.
Man on the move here is Josh Grant on the Muscle Milk Toyota Yamaha. Joe Gibbs Racing. He's going to get around Windham here. This is where the track connects back to the starting line and heads up Horsepower Hill.
And just when you think that Ryan Dungey's got this thing in hand, little mistake here. Just loses the front end, but you notice he keeps the bike running, throttle in hand, and gets back on it.
And no problem, Ryan Dungey's got himself in another victory. And as you can see, these are supposed to be long, grueling races, but for this kid, doesn't even look tired at all. Let's show the results. Well done for Dungey. He's got to try to back this up in Moto number 2 to win the overall, and quietly, Brett Metcalf puts it up in third.
And I tell you, Ryan Sipes there in fifth on the Yamaha. Fantastic ride. And Windham, who started second, fades back to ninth.
Now Tommy Hahn is back in action after a couple of injuries have been slowing his charge. He's trying to get back up to the front again on the podium. What does the number 10 need to do, our Rocky Mountain keys to the race, Jeff?
Well, he needs to get a better start than what he did in Moto 1. He worked his way forward, fell down, so that's why I think he needs to stay on two wheels, obviously, and he needs to keep charging like he does. Tommy Hahn has a huge heart, and he tries so hard.
We're ready to go racing live here at our second 450 Moto. They're bumping and grinding, but it looks like Andrew Short is going to nail yet another hole shot. 8 hole shots on the season.
Riders down.
And one of them is Mike Alessi in the orange, the KTM rider who has had all sorts of bad luck this year, and he has it again.
Jeff Alessi's in there, and you talk about bad luck. I believe that was Tommy Hahn.
No, I think Hahn, no, that you're right. That's Hahn coming through the number 5 spot. So Hahn managed to keep it up. He's only a few spots further back as Dungey has got himself yet another good, not great start. Dungey hasn't gotten a lot of hole shots this year, but he's in position again to make things happen. And they jump back into view of the fans for the first time, and it is Short over Windham, just like the first moto. And of course, they got that shark in the water, Ryan Dungey in third.
Well, this is how Moto 1 started. You can see all this roost starting to fly up. And I cannot stress enough how important it is for the whole shot here when it comes to that roost. Coming off these big 450 four-stroke motocross machines, the roost here, it hurts. You notice Wyndham ducking his head right there. And what's going to be important is that if you're a rider like Dungey, when he was trying to pick his way through the pack, is you cannot follow the fast line. You have to make new lines. Look how shadowed it is. It's so dark down in there, Jason.
Wyndham looks like he's rolling up a little bit on his teammate Short here, Jeff, as we're about to complete lap 1. They're headed to the whoops in the